Welcome to Dr. Jester Rants, and I'm gonna rant about Screen Rant. Yeah, right. The 10 best classic D&D adventures that D&D 2024 should bring back. I'm not even going to argue about their choices or anything of this sort. I don't give a shit what they have to say about it or whatever. The only thing that I'm actually going to go and rant about, and this one is very important, is what they said here. Which is basically what destroyed Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons has become what I feel like for Star Wars and Star Trek. It's indifferent. I used to play Dungeons and Dragons, and whenever I had friends who would like it, we would play it. And I enjoyed the games released for consoles and computers. I enjoyed the world. But now I just don't care. I see new releases and I don't feel anything about it. I don't want to buy it. I don't want to play it. I don't want to read it. And based on the numbers that we are seeing here, and the releases on Hasbro and the money that they are losing, I think it's a sentiment that is shared by a lot of people. Because Dungeons and Dragons used to mean something. It used to be a comfortable game, something that you would imagine with those yellow lights and of your room, or I don't know, the table or somewhere, and it's nighttime, you're playing with your friends and there's the story and your character is there, and it's you imagine in that dark corridor in some dungeon or somewhere else. But in my case, I prefer to go and adventure in a dungeon and mostly stay there for quite some time. And I remember playing it and thinking how cool it was, because my first Dungeons and Dragons game, I got it when I was way too young to actually understand much of the rules, but I got a little bit older, a couple of years, and then I played that thing to death, and it was awesome. And today I don't feel the same thing. But it's mostly specifically for things like this. It's for people we allowed into the hobby, which people seem to be still doing the mistake and allowing these people into things like Warhammer and Battletech, which is, let me put it this way, and very succinctly, it's a mistake. We should gatekeep. Here is why I think we should gatekeep. A lot of earlier D&D modules contained troubling content and lore, including racist depictions of characters and prejudiced adaptations of cultures. The reworked versions could provide a fairer, more three-dimensional view of those characters using more recently established lore. The more recently established lore is not the lore, and it's denied by a lot of fans. People just don't care about it, and they view it the same way we all view Disney Star Wars. A fever dream from some fatso slug. That's what we view like it. But before I continue with my rant, here is a trailer which is definitely far better than the new Dungeons and Dragons stuff. And Star Wars and Star Trek.
We are few. We are God's chosen knights. and crime. We are repentance personified. We are immortal. We are legend. We are God's wrath made manifest. And we know no fear.
Baby, yeah, right. Even the art itself for Dungeons and Dragons has changed throughout the year. It's not the same stuff. You look at the art today for Dungeons and Dragons and you see it, and it lacks that depth, that soul that used to have, that imagination, that, I don't know. Remember the Red Dragon of Dungeons and Dragons? You look at it and you feel the powerful image, the imagery that it's trying to portray. Today you get things like Mexican orcs, which is basically, let me put it this way, very racist if you ask me. But hey. But then again, these are coming from the people who claim that orcs represent black people. Yeah, they made that connection for some reason. I never did in my entire life. But for some reason, for these people, yeah, they made it. So, it feels a bit racist, to be honest. It feels a little bit racist. But hey, who am I to complain? I'm just a Latino who just feels indifferent about Dungeons and Dragons today. What can you do, right? But anyway, you can see the art of today, and it's not the same thing. It feels lackluster, superficial. It feels empty, soulless. It lacks that depth. Sorry about that. It lacks that depth, that the previous art had. It lacks this soul that I said. Look at this. This is just nonsensical garbage. And a little bit racist. But then again, this is what happens when you let woke people into your hobby and they take hold of companies and they warm in and infiltrate and they destroy it. But I think the best thing that Dungeons and Dragons has had lately and has come out with is the free content for my channel, which is this. Wheelchairs and wheelchair accessible dungeons. Yeah, I'm not making that shit up. They literally added that, and it's as absurd as, well, as it sounds. Imagine that where you punish the actual, I don't know, dungeon master or for not creating a dungeon with wheelchair accessible ramps, where if you add stairs, you're evil and you need to use ramps. You can't use circular stairs anymore in a castle or something like that, because otherwise it's ableist. Or that you can't possibly target the wheelchair for some reason. It's a weird magical item that it can, well, avoid many hits, and if you target it purposefully, you get negative points and things like that. I don't even understand their rules because it kept changing a little bit from time to time, and it's absolutely as retarded as it comes. In a world where you can cure and heal yourself with magic and sometimes bring people from the death with magic, and you will choose to stay in a wheelchair, why would you want to live your real life in a fake world? It's just beyond me. Because that makes no sense, and it's a god item in the game. Yeah, this is why Dungeons and Dragons is just a pathetic joke, and we get articles like the stuff we see on Screen Rant, where they see problematic content even back in the day. Especially when it was very diverse and it was interesting. Each race had its own advantages and disadvantages, with the vanilla being humans. Today you don't even get that anymore. Dark elves? No, they're good guys, no? Ah, fuck. Yeah, this is why we need to gatekeep. And as adorable as the Isenbud princess from Lex. Cheery bye.